From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John.
Hey, y'all are. Cajun Rob here hanging out with you.
We got a special guest tonight. Someone that we've known for a while. I've never met in person. Have you?
I don't think so, but we've been like you. We've been friends forever. Seems like, and we've helped each other through a lot of bad times, good times, and we've always been there for each other. But great guy. Y'all in store for a treat. This guy has a passion and enthusiasm for the outdoors. That's for sure.
Yes. Go ahead. I'll let you do the intro tonight.
Okay, sure. Honored to. Well, it's my honor to introduce my good friend and I said I call him the godfather of fishing communication, Jay Angel. He's producer and the host of Let's Talk Fishing podcast, where he interviews guides, tournament pros, and tackle innovators every week. He's a former outdoor columnist in Northern Illinois, who later contributed to Midwest Outdoors and Fishing and Hunting News. Jay has spent decades turning his passion for bass and other forms of fishing into written stories, tournament appearances, and now live stream conversations that reach anglers nationwide. Broadcasting from his home in Louisiana, he brings both fresh and saltwater expertise and an infectious enthusiasm to every episode. And said he's a good friend to the show. He's a mentor for me and John, and I think he kind of influenced us to get started. So go ahead and bring out a good friend, Mr. Jay Angel.
Well, that was quite an intro, Rob. Thank you.
Hey, man, it's well deserved, man. You are definitely our mentor. I promise you.
Wow, that was cool. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. But
and he didn't even lie in it.
Yeah, no, didn't have to. How's things in South Louisiana besides hot?
It's just hot. You know, I was out last weekend surf fishing, and it was like 95 degrees. But with the humidity index, it was so humid. You know, we were driving down to Grand Isle, and we had to have the defroster on full blast hot. You know, it's 80 degrees, but you know the windshield just kept fogging up, and I'm trying to drive like this, and there's people in back of me going 70, and I'm going 45, and they're just furious.
Oh yeah.
I just make people mad wherever I go.
It happens, man. It's gonna happen no matter where you go.
You know, the fish weren't really biting. We managed to catch a couple of small specks, but it definitely wasn't worth, you know, 98-mile drive each way.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, that's fishing, man. You know, there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. I wasn't playing video games. So I got to get out, got to use some new stuff that I had. You know, I got a new rod from Grant.
Yep.
Actually,
And those Grant rods, I tell you what, man, they're a work of art. I've seen a lot of rods come and go, but man, his is a work of art.
I got it right here. Oh, good Lord, man, they're all.
Yep. Yeah, we got a quick comment from another friend of mine, Barking Riggers. He says, "LOL, I sent Rob some pictures last week. The windows were fogging so bad you had to roll them down and stick your head out." Yep, been there, man. I've been there.
That happens, man. That happens. All right. If I can't get this off, I'm not going to spend very much time on it. But, you know, it was like 98 degrees, and we drove home, and I didn't feel like separating everything. You know, I was surf fishing, so after you surf fish, you really want to. All right, that's enough of that.
It happens, man. It happens to all of us. So, hey, you understand.
After you surf fish, you want to spend a lot of time rinsing off your stuff, man. Just take care of your equipment. It'll take care of you.
Oh, absolutely.
That's exactly what. The heck with that.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
What Jim Grant did is he put a little picture of a redfish, and he said this rod was made especially for Jay Angel.
Wow.
It really made me feel good, you know. And
that's Grant a touch rods, of class.
Like you say, Grant rods are actually just a work of art. You know, when you're casting out into the surf and you're trying to reel through 3-foot waves like this,
yep,
you really need a good rod. and I like to tie direct to braid when I'm doing that because I don't want to lose any sensitivity because sometimes even a big speck will just.
Yep.
And you got to be able to feel that as you're reeling and going up and down in the waves. That's exciting to me. And also the idea that there are sharks all over the place in there.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see them, but they know you're there.
Oh, yeah. They feel you. They know.
Yep.
That excites me. I don't know why. You know, I've actually been reeling it up and pulling a speck out of the water and seen a mouth come up and grab it. And I'm like, the tax man cometh.
And then you go over to the freshwater side and have an alligator try to steal your fish on the opposite side. So,
alligators, a 3-foot alligator can actually walk on top of the water to get at a crappie. It's different down here. Now, up there where John lives, he has smallmouth bass, and that makes up for all this excitement.
that's true.
Look, hey, I don't know. I think I'd rather be out getting redfish than smallmouth.
Wow. I don't know. That's a toss-up, man. Wow.
Neither one of them give up. Neither one give up.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Exciting.
They are, but they taste better than smallmouth.
They do. I have never eaten bass. And what we used to say that if you eat a bass, the bass guys will never let you catch another one. But that's not true because these boys down here catch all kinds of bass and they eat them all.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. I talk about that. My grandpa, when we go set trout lines and limb lines, he'd catch a bass. He'd call them green trout. I got another green trout.
And the walleye anglers will call them green carp.
Yep.
It's just. And the bass fish. Go ahead, Rob.
And then our good friend Barker Ruger's down in your part of the world in Louisiana says, Jay says pushing sharks out of the way to catch a redfish is better than cocaine and waffles.
That's funny because one of my friends was out there red snapper fishing, and she found 10 bundles of marijuana. And I'm like, so what'd you do? She's like, oh, we called the Coast Guard. I'm like, well, I guess you don't want to get involved with the people who actually dropped that or the people who are looking for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame them there.
Yeah.
See,
in my younger days, I'd have probably taken it and made some cash on that one.
Yeah, probably.
Square grouper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But, yeah, I don't want to. I just wouldn't want to mess. There's no such thing as easy money.
No.
And if you make a deal with the devil,
sure there is.
Sure there is. John, is there something you're not telling us?
Yeah.
Nope.
Do share.
I can't. I'm going to be going through a custody battle. I don't want to say anything negative.
There you, man.
Or incriminating.
Incriminating.
Yep. But hey, quick, Jay. I love how you're doing the outdoor pictures now. The pictures of like the different outdoor scenes, the cypress and the hanging moss. Yeah. Man, I love that, man. You're taking those outdoor shots, and I know how you travel all across the state, man. That's great.
Actually, I have a YouTube channel called Reflections of South Louisiana, and that's what I do. It's for the scenery, the animals, and the culture. So I go through like Mardi Gras and walk through the middle of the 2 lanes of floats.
Yep.
And I just have people pose for me. I had a bunch of women say, "Welcome to Mardi Gras," and they were all, woo.
You didn't throw no beads at them, did you?
That doesn't happen as much as people think it does. I've actually ridden in a float. I'm like, when is that going to happen? The guy's like, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the section New Orleans you're in too, I guess too.
Yeah, and the only ones I've ever seen are ones I didn't want to see. So.
Yeah, I was about to say probably so.
Yeah. Oh well.
As far as fishing, man, down here, the speckled trout have moved out, which means they're on the outside. They're not in the marshes like they are in the wintertime.
Yep.
But one thing that we're doing, I'm involved with Responsible Anglers United, and Cliff Crochet actually started this idea down here. He had an organization called Every Bass Counts.
Yeah.
And he raises money to restock South Louisiana because all the waterways in South Louisiana, once you get south of I-10, they're all interconnected. So there's tens of thousands of miles of just canals and ponds. But every time that there's a hurricane, it pushes salt water up into those waterways, which kills the bass. Bass are indigenous, but they need more oxygen than most of the fish that live in the marsh, and they can't tolerate the high levels of salinity that most of the fish can tolerate. They can tolerate low levels of salinity, but it stunts their growth. So that's why we have a 3-pound bass or a 16-inch bass that weighs 3.5 pounds. So the bass here are fat because they sit there and gobble up shrimp, small crabs, and like 6 different kinds of minnows all day long. I mean, Rob, you've seen it. John, you've been down here too. You know, just a school of shrimp that you can't get you can't see through with your locator. Mm. It's incredible.
It is.
Just the amount of fish down here. But so Responsible Anglers United, I helped them by providing them with publicity last winter. And in you know, they asked me what I wanted to be paid. I said I want 3 tickets to your dinner, and I want to fish with Steve Rockweiler.
Yep.
He's known as the GOAT of Southern Louisiana, you know. So I got to fish with him.
Nice.
And I can't believe you didn't want to go. No, I'm sorry, Jay. I can't believe you didn't want to go with Barking Rugers.
That's our good buddy from down there.
That's our good buddy making comments. He's in South Louisiana.
Really? He'll tell him to contact me, man. We'll go fish.
Oh, good deal. He's got a nice boat. He's got a real nice boat.
Man, I fish with. Yeah, that's you know, when you were talking about being an outdoor communicator, that's the reason I love to be an outdoor communicator. I get to meet so many cool people like you guys, and I get to fish with people that, you know, I just wouldn't be eligible to fish with if I was just another guy in a boat.
Yep.
Yes.
That is where it's at for me, because as we all know, there's not a whole lot of money in this racket.
No.
But we know the people from all over the United States. And we put ourselves in a position that these guys want to tell us their little secret to their success. So they tell us the way that they're you know, handling their rods. They tell us, you know, I'm using this lure during these conditions. You got to try that. And so we try that, and if it works, we incorporate that into what we do, and that makes us better fishermen.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I have a couple guides up here that they charge a little more, but they educate you as well, so you can go back and do it yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I did as a guide. I taught a lot of people how to fish, and actually one of the guys who I had guided became my tournament partner.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
He was such a good fisherman, and he asked me, well, why do you want to? I said, because you're a pleasant person to have on the boat. I can teach you the fishing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can teach you that part, but I can't teach you how to be a pleasant person in a boat.
Yep, there you go.
You're very helpful, and you pick up things. I tell you how to do things once, and you got it, man. You're smarter than me. I don't.
Absolutely.
And let's get to Barking Rugers comment here. He says you got too much sense to be in a boat with him.
Oh my goodness. John's got the attack cat. Watch out now.
Uh-oh. Cat.
911. I'm bleeding.
Uh-oh.
She clawed me.
Lord.
Oh, it happens. Well, it happens.
Yeah. I have a serious question, Jay.
What's that?
I know you're not used to stuff from us, but what inspired you to start the Let's Talk Fishing podcast?
You know, that's actually a good That's actually a good question. You know, I started out in 1997 as an outdoor writer for the local newspaper. It was just weird because I walked into where my wife worked at this newspaper, and the editor came running up to me. I'd gone through college with him, and I used to pick on this guy. I was kind of an asshole back then. and he said, you know, I'd like you to start writing outdoor columns for us. And I'm like, so that turned into writing for 4 different magazines and guiding and tournament fishing. And by the time 2011 came around, I didn't have time for anything but that.
Yeah.
Then, I quit all that, moved up to Alaska after a divorce. I ran away, and I came back. I came back, and I was living in southern Louisiana, and I was sitting next to my wife, and I'm like, I'm bored. And she's like, uh-oh, I know what this means. I said, no, not that. I'm going to start a podcast. She said, don't talk that way anymore, please. No, honey, I don't want to divorce you. My goodness. No, I'm going to start a podcast. I called my son, and 10 minutes later, he called me back with this thing about Podbean. I signed up for their free program with a cell phone I already had and an idea. Then sooner, the first company I met was Grant Rods. The second company I met was Vector Hooks. And Vector Hooks introduced me to Cajun Rob, and Cajun Rob introduced me to John.
Yep. All intertwined.
Here we are, freaking almost 6 years later.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. Time flies.
Almost 6 years later, here we are.
And people won't believe this, but we've never met in person.
No. And I haven't even met Rob. And Rob actually drove practically right by my house a couple times.
Yeah, we just couldn't get across. It's weird, but
well, I work full time. Rob works full time, and it just sooner or later it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, it is. It's going to be good times, man. It's going to be good times.
I almost went fishing with Rob one time, but then I ended up having an operation. And
yep, things happen, man. Hey, things happen. So
we'll go to your Hall of Fame induction.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Wow.
There you go. Now you're talking.
All right, we got a couple comments here, so Jake can be speechless. Eden Brooks from Stinky River Tom.
River Tom, yeah. I like that.
I love it.
He said Alaska, and LA, both bucket list fisheries for herself. And where are you?
Alaska is a cool place, man. But if you're not used to extreme cold, don't go there, because even in August, it's going to get up to like 60 degrees. And during the winter, during the evenings in August, it gets down to 40.
Phew.
In Louisiana, it's the direct opposite, 110 degrees in the day, and it stays above 90 for 6 months out of the year. In Alaska, it stays below zero for 6 months out of the year.
And humid, sticky down in the Great Bayou State.
Sticky, man. 2 or 3 shirts a day when I'm on the field.
Yep.
Yeah, you just
like the live. Thank you. Stinky River.
Thank you.
It's just a cool name, man.
Yeah, that is. I like the logo, man. Check his logo out. I like that, man. That is pretty dang cool.
That is cool. I'm blind as a bat, so I have to be close. Yeah.
Hey, I'm same way. Same way, man. I hear you.
So Stinky River Tom, where are you from? I'm going to say he's not in Louisiana.
No.
Stinky
he's not in Alaska.
No.
Stinky River, that sounds like Mississippi or Alabama.
Yeah.
He could be in Pennsylvania
or
Ohio. Hey, maybe Ohio River. Maybe that's what he's talking about, Stinky River.
Stinky River. Be. There's a Stinking Creek near Knoxville I used to live close to. There's a Stinking Creek down there. There's a Stinking Creek in Kentucky, too. Take it back, too.
Where is he from?
You got that?
I didn't see it.
He's up in your neck of the woods, Jay.
You're in Wisconsin, man. That's God's country. Why would you want to come down here, dude? South Texas for alligator guy. Wow. Nice. Yeah, we have a lot of alligator gar down here. I like to stay away from them because it's just like when I hook into a Jack Crevalle or a shark, I just grab the line and don't want to waste my time. That's why people ask me why I bring 6 rods.
Yep.
Well, I can't see the line to tie it, so I have to sit here with my magnifying glass.
And then the wind's blowing. Don't forget about the wind blowing. Blowing.
Yeah, but at least you're not on the boat.
Oh. That's why I can't fish tournaments. I can't see the line to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got yourself in a noose.
Man, I used to be able to tie hooks in the dark while the boat was running, Now I can't tie hooks in my freaking. I have to turn off the air conditioning so that there's no wind.
Yeah, exactly. And then you try to hit the hole on the hook about 6 times.
And then you pull it tight.
Or then you
try the double uni knot and you pull it.
And then you get confused and you cut the wrong line. It's like, I just cut the main line instead
I'm
of the tag
laughing
line.
because I've done that. I thought I had the tagline, but it was the main line.
Yep.
And then
And
you
you tie the
throw
perfect
it over
knot.
the
When that
side.
happens, it's the perfect knot when you do that.
Yes.
It happens.
And then you throw
pull
your
it tight
spinnerbait over the
and
side and realize that's when you
throw
realize you
spinning
caught
at
the wrong
one
one.
time.
You want to sit
Yellowtail.
Yellow.
Nice.
No, yellowtail. Those are deep water species. I've never caught one. I've gone deep water a couple of times and I've caught red snapper.
Yep.
You know, those are delicious. You talk about a mild white flaky fish that just, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Throw them on the grill.
Oh yeah. I'm always a big
That's
flounder
one
guy.
thing I've done down here.
Yep. Yeah, flounder used to be
You
my
used to get flounder?
game. Yeah, we go down to Biloxi Beach and we'd
Really?
wade out there, with the flashlights and like a broomstick with a nail in it, and then a stingray would you'd stir a stingray up and you'd be like, everybody freeze. So, yep, pretty cool though.
Yeah, I don't like those
Stinky River
stingrays
Tom.
either, man. Those.
Oh, where is Mr. Stinky River Tom from? Oh, Wisconsin.
said
That's
no.
Yeah,
right.
North Wisconsin. Yep.
You said northern
Hey,
Wisconsin.
I was the
That is-
closest. I came up with Ohio.
Yeah, you did.
Northern Wisconsin is such a cool place. You talk about smallmouth bass, man. They have some small ponds. There's a guy who actually
Walleye.
walleyes. Oh, there's a guy who guides that lake over there by. I think it's in Missouri, Table Rock. A guy who guides Table Rock, and he goes in northern Wisconsin every year to fish for smallmouth bass. And he told me some of those small lakes up there, he has caught verified 8-pounders.
Ooh, dang.
8-pound smallmouth bass. That's like a 14-pound largemouth. I mean, that's the only. Jeez, I've caught some high 6s up in Green Bay.
Yep.
And up in Big Bay to Knock. And Big Bay to Knock, that's like
Oh yeah.
6-footers. You're trying to catch smallmouth bass. You're trying to jig a tube.
You just have to stand there with the rod against you because the water's going to make the movement.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, pretty much.
And a lot of guys do that. They put the rods in the rod holders and just hold on. And when
But it's beautiful country up there, Stinky River, Tom. I was my company sent me up there October, November. So I went to Kenosha, way up to the tip, visited some stores, and man, a great area up there. Beautiful. I was really impressed.
Yeah. I grew up going up to Minocqua and Boulder Junction and even over towards I can't, man, my brain's failing me.
Yeah, that's me. I can't remember what I did yesterday anymore.
I grew up going up there. Yeah. The chip. Yeah. I grew up going up to the chip to fish muskies.
Oh, wow. I got him a kayak, chasing muskies. Yep. I just got me a kayak in last summer. Man, I love it. That kayak, man, you can get in places nobody else can. It's great.
He got his first muskie on a yak. My goodness.
It was a circus.
Yeah.
Ooh, I bet.
If you get a big 45-inch plus on a yak, you've got. Well, I had that girl Pam on my podcast several times, and she takes she lives on the Gulf side of Florida, and she takes her yak out and catches sailfish. That's one tough.
Unreal.
And she's 66 years old.
Wow.
66 years old, takes her yak out and fishes and she has actually caught sailfish.
Wow. That's impressive. In a yak.
Not
yak.
Not this kid. Not this kid.
No, there's no way, man. I wouldn't.
That's like the Evil Knievel of the 70s,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
much.
be coming back. Pam's one tough lady, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I almost got to fish with her, but both of us, when I was down there in Cape Coral, Florida last summer, we both had to evacuate because of a hurricane.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember that. That would have been a great trip. But and the Stinky River Tom says, oh, snap, I'm going to Boulder Junction for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, I used to fish Trout Lake, and right across the street from Trout Lake is Lake Aliquash. I haven't been up there since 2005, right after I got divorced the first time.
Yep. Heard that, man. But Jay, I know you've a bit. If folks don't know, tuning in your podcast, you always got great guests. You got a variety: saltwater, freshwater. I said kayak, little bit of everything. And I know you've recently you've kind of teamed up with a plastics company. Kind of talk about 4-7.
You know, yes, and he sent me a big package of stuff on last Tuesday, and I looked for it yesterday, and it was still in North Carolina. Thank you,
Yep.
Postal Service. Thank you.
Yep.
But it has, looked it up, 47lures.com, guys. They have some innovative stuff. They have some stuff that's ribbed. I think it looks like a leech. He turns it up. If you do it like this, you can drop shot that thing. It looks like a leech. If you do it vertically, it goes back and it's ribbed the whole way down. So it goes like this through the water like a minnow. My goodness, innovative.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Innovative. And he has a whole bunch of swim baits I can use for trout, or the guys can use them up north for smallmouth bass. I know I left there in 2011 and they didn't really have a whole lot in the way of swim baits. They had the really big swim baits for muskies, but now they're making smaller ones for smallmouth bass. You can drop shot them. You can put them on jigs, all kinds of things, underspins.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how technology has pushed rods and lures here lately. Seems like it's been a real big push.
Yes.
And soft plastics, that's just when I'm actually Roy Widgeon from USA Kayak Angling Magazine introduced me to this guy, and he started talking about soft plastics, and I'm like, man, I will promote you. I like small companies. I like it when I can talk to the owner of the company and I can make a marketing plan that works for both of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's win-win. Win-win.
I was talking about you guys, and he's like, tell me about their podcast. I've heard of those guys. Yes, stand-up guys. They will give you what you pay for. They'll give you more than you pay for. Those guys are great guys. We've actually developed marketing plans together.
Oh yeah, and then small like you, we're just like you, Jay. We like small companies, startups and guys, just starting out of their garages and keep moving up. So yeah, we know a guy that does call tags too.
We know a guy who started out in his garage. Yes.
Absolutely.
Speaking of guys, that's a good one.
So, yes, I'm going to go back to you a little bit, Jay. Can you tell us a couple podcasts that you've done that have just stuck with you?
Denny Brower. When I was talking to Denny Brower, he didn't want to talk about all the wins he'd done and all his successes. He wanted to talk about little things. He says, like tying your knots the night before, like I said, I have 5 rods. And they have the same thing on them. And people ask, why do you do that? Well, because each one of those knots is tied as well as I can tie them. I don't like to use the word perfect. He talked about that when he wakes up and he hears thunder and it's raining horizontally against his window, he's like, half the field has already been beaten.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's like, I get to fish today.
Also, and somebody's going to win. Somebody's going
to win. You only have to catch one fish. And also Denise Sesteta.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's so upbeat and she's so dignified and she has such a great attitude, and I asked her, so how'd you do? I came in second, and she started talking about the person who won.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff. I like people who are humble. I like people who are very upbeat. I'm trying to learn how to do that because just like you guys, I've had a lot of bad things happen to me. And I'm trying to get over all that and become a better person, a nicer person. I like to have people on my podcast who push the industry into a positive way. People who big pros who talk to you. Big pros who take the time to talk to just the average guy, oh yeah, he talks to kids. Well, that's great. Everybody talks to kids. But I want the guy who talks to an average guy and say, hey, can I ask you a question? Yeah, sure. What do you got, man?
Absolutely.
That's the kind of people I like to promote. And just other people who I was really impressed with Terry Brown from Wired to Fish.
Yep. Yeah, he's been around a long time.
Self-made man, And he talked about a lake that I used to guide. You know, and we
Wow.
talked about that, and he was really impressed with the fact that I grew, you know, I didn't grow up there, but, you know, I ended up fishing that lake, and that was one of my favorite lakes to guide because it was such a great crappie lake, and I could catch saugeyes, which is a walleye sauger mix.
Okay.
It's a fantastic fish. They get bigger than saugers, and they're tougher than walleyes because saugers are the riverine cousin of a walleye.
Yep.
Even though walleyes do live in rivers, but saugers are almost exclusively in rivers. So they put those two fish together, and they made kind of like a hybrid striper. You know, you have hybrid stripers end up with footballs. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then Yep. And then Stinky River Tom says these modern day kayaks are small boats. This beast has a power pole and a stern anchor too. Wow, man, what you got for a setup? I'm curious now. Tell us what your setup is.
Sounds a little bit like Roy Widgeon's. You know, that is a small boat. In fact, it's better equipped than most small boats.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And he has a question for you. Jay says, Jay, I'm going to ask you a polarizing question. As a younger angler, what do you think about FFS, forward-facing sonar? My fish finder is a pair of glasses.
You know, I'm not a younger angler, and you know, like when last winter, my nephew asked me if I would ever consider fishing with him because he has a boat, but it doesn't have a trolling motor or any kind of locator. And I said, well, I know spots where I'd like to take you.
Yeah.
And we're going to go out there. We're going to smack fish all day long without any special stuff. We're going to slip and anchor in very quietly. And man, we did. We caught probably two dozen speckled trout, he caught a great big bull red, and I caught a bunch of flounder like that, Rob.
Yep. Oh yeah, that flounders.
I ended up giving all those fish to him and his family, you know.
Oh man. Good
Like
stuff.
Amanda's sister, I love her, you know.
Oh yeah. So absolutely.
You know, just keep all these fish, man. Thank you for taking me fishing.
Absolutely. It is Stinky River Tom says new canoe U10 power pole micro in the back. Man, you ought to check out Roy Widgeon. He's got unlimited, and he's got it all decked out. But check Roy Widgeon, the Kayak Magazine. He's a good friend of both me and John's and Jay's. Great guy. Yeah. So tune in this Kayak Magazine. He's got some always great guests, always good stuff.
USA Kayak Angler Magazine, man.
Yep, absolutely.
And he's going to be another guest on our show. We're trying to set that up.
Yep.
So, and 47 Lures, mentioning them. What do you think the future fishing looks like 5 years from now?
I think it's just going to keep going. You know, I don't think forward-facing sonar is going to go away. No. In fact, it's not. I want to see what the next innovation, what the next big thing is, and I'm sure it's going to be as polarizing as everything else.
Yep, seems like it's always something does that. I mean, far back as I can remember. So
you remember when paper graphs first came out? Yep. That was the death of Western civilization as we know it. Oh my gosh, just like they said in Stripes, oh my gosh, cats and dogs sleeping together.
Yeah. Then it was side scan, and then oh my goodness.
And now it's forward facing sonar. Oh my gosh, the fisheries are going to fall, and oh my gosh,
it's going to get more popular. My opinion, it's going to be more popular.
Yep.
You know, you can't stop the snowball now.
Yep. No, but you know,
once it hit college, then high school, it's just gonna keep going.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and
but old
I don't
guys
mean that
like
in a
us,
negative way.
We know how to read the water.
Yep.
Lee Bailey and I were talking about that, about reading the water, man. Looking at it, there's all kinds of clues.
Yep.
Read the water. Learn how to do that, man. Guy, that's what my advice to young anglers: go out without your electronics. Learn how to read the water. Learn what that kind of bottom feels like, so that you can feel it in your rod. Okay, I'm pulling over rocks. Ooh, I just went to sand. This is a good spot. Let's check this. Let's see what this looks like. And then put your forward-facing sonar on and see what's there. Is anybody home? Yep. Okay, now I just scouted this area. That would have taken me 2 hours. I just scouted it in 5 seconds. And that's
found a transition. Yeah, he found your transition.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not cheating. Do you all that cheating? No, it's not cheating.
No.
My goodness.
and then we know back from the old days, go out and you'll see, raccoons or deer on a bank. You go down the river, 5 miles, you this one little area, maybe 100 yards. There's deer, raccoon, birds, just life everywhere, and that's where the fish is going to be.
It's because they're feeding on oysters.
Yep.
Or, no, in freshwater, they're feeding on
Yep.
freshwater clams.
Yep.
Right.
Clam bed. Yes.
Yep. But that size of life, you got to be in tune with a little bit of both. So you can't just rely on one or the other. I think a lot of these young kids come up. I think a lot of them's getting the hybrid. They're doing a little bit of both, and that's why they're on the elites now. And really, man, they got a handle on it.
Yeah.
Some of those kids are very, very good, like Levi Thibodeau.
Oh yeah,
my
absolutely.
goodness. That guy, I met his father at that banquet I told you about, Bart Thibodeau.
Yep.
He came up and told me that, and I'm like, I want to shake your hand, man. Your son is not only a great fisherman, but a great person. I had him on my podcast. I hope he's the next big thing.
Oh yeah, every time I see him in a Toyota, he's like top 5, top 10, and we've had him on a guest before. Just a great young guy, sharp, humble as he can be. I mean, yeah, that's one guy you want to cheer for. Absolutely.
Like I said, I like to cheer for the humble people. The guy who's not going to let fame go to his head. Well, like Denny Brower.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned Lee Bailey. He's our guest tomorrow night.
Oh, yep. Lee Bailey is next level, man. He's actually up for the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. I wrote him a letter. And, that's why I had him on my podcast just a couple weeks ago to talk about his history, because that's what they want to hear. They want to see a lifetime achievement.
Yeah,
and that's him, man.
At
a young age he was fishing, but then he started fishing professionally at a very young age. He dedicated his whole life to it. He did a lot of work for people, for kids, for other, to teach people how to fish. And one of the guys from this trail that he started fishing as a co-angler took him under his wing and showed him the ropes as a pro. And I said, yeah, that's a good point, because there's a difference between being a fisherman and a pro.
Yeah.
Because being a fishing pro is about 90% marketing and 10% fishing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And when I tell people, when guys ask me what can my son do to become a fishing pro, I say get a degree in marketing.
Spot on.
That's learn everything you can about marketing.
And social media.
Oh,
that's it. Well, social media is marketing now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And that's my friends.
And it won't hurt to learn how to. It won't hurt to learn how to edit film.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm clueless.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, it's work. People does it. Hats off to them. They put the work in. And Stinky River Tom says, I just look over Navionics, print off a map, and highlight some areas. Bring the ultralight and see what kind of bait fish I catch and where. Works for me of the small lakes for me. Hey, man, that's a great plan. That's a great blueprint.
Man, Stinky River, I was talking to these guys earlier. Now this guy, this smallmouth bass guy will not tell me what lakes he guides up there, but there is a lake that he has caught 8-pound smallmouths in northern Wisconsin. I know northern Wisconsin is a huge area, and there's hundreds of lakes. So I guess it doesn't help much. But anyways, they're there.
Oh, yeah.
But also,
absolutely.
What is that? Shawamigan Bay. I've caught some enormous smallmouths in Shawamigan Bay, which is a bay in Lake Superior, northern Wisconsin. It's brutal. It's absolutely. I mean, Edmund Fitzgerald was cut in half on.
Oh wow!
Lake Superior,
Yep.
Well, that's what that song is about,
Oh yeah.
Edmund Fitzgerald. That was Lake Superior that she died in, and everybody in her.
Yep. That's a great old folk song. And he says, Stinky River Tom says, man, I want to find some 8-pound smallies. Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you, Tom.
Everybody else.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I'm with you.
I told you, man, I fished those things my whole life. Well, until I moved down here.
Yeah.
Right.
The biggest, I've caught some high 6s, and that's it.
That's still nice.
They're catching a lot of 6s and 7s on the regular up here in New York.
I bet they are. But in Lake Erie, they caught a verified 10. Oh my God. And they thought that when those gobies got in there, it's the end of everything, just like I said about.
Oh yeah. In the world.
the
this
smallmouth
world.
bass are gobbling those things up, and they're getting huge.
Football. They're becoming football and tanks.
Yeah.
A couple things the gobies did for the smallmouth fisheries, 10, 15 years ago, the smallmouth, you wouldn't target them in a tournament because they were here today, gone tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep.
With the gobies, they don't have to go anywhere. They got that food right there. They stay. They're not the nomads anymore.
So they're not following around the schools of like,
Bait
emerald
fish.
shiners or stuff like that they used to, or smelt.
They're staying
They're
right
just
there.
staying on the bottom and gobbling up. Wow, that's interesting, John. I'm glad you told me that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, thanks. I'm glad I could help you out a little bit.
The last time I fished for smallmouth, I couldn't believe the way we were doing it because, I'm used to throwing tubes. And Mike Norris, I fished with him up on Big Green Lake where he lives, and man, we were just throwing Ned rigs.
Yep.
And my Ned rig became destroyed because I caught like 15 smallmouths on it. He took it and turned it over and put it back on. There you go.
Amazing little bait.
This is all you're gonna do? He's like, throw that out and see what happens. I threw it out.
And Mike Norris is a legend.
He's like, what's
when a
this?
legend tells you, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
he's another
I
member
don't
of the
know.
International Freshwater Fishing Hall.
Well deserved. Well deserved. But that Ned rig
That was
works
my
magic.
mentor.
Yeah, that Ned rig works magic.
I can't do that with a shaky head.
You can't?
No.
You can't turn it around and put it on the backwards?
No, I can't tie him on my line.
Yeah, they're a little harder, Si.
No, I just don't.
Oh, you don't like shaky heads?
Or Ned's.
Or Ned.
I've never done well on shaky heads, and that's just weird because I don't like shaky heads because I like the wacky rigs so much, and they're so similar,
Yep. But I don't know. That Ned worked.
Less presentations.
That Ned rig works pretty good. Ask Barkin Rugers when he come to Kentucky how I did it with a Ned rig versus him, and I think he'll give you a little insight.
Well, he's got a comment out there.
Yep. Yeah, he does. Let's see. Oh. Okay. I'll leave the button alone.
Whoopins.
You've been reading, so I figure I'll just take it.
I know. I had to rub it in on him a little bit. He got let's just say he got schooled a little bit, but it is a little better up kind of the Midwest and middle. So, but shaky head seem like it's better at southern impoundment. So, but it's all good. And then Stinky River Tom says, up here I really enjoy targeting some of our local rough fish, smallmouth, buffalo, carp, always a blast in the river. I will die on that hill. Very good point.
Buffalo and carp. Wow. I grew up catching those things, on those rivers of northern Illinois. Go down there with a can of corn.
Yep.
Throw a hand of it out, and then just put some on a hook and throw it out there and wait.
There's a bunch of pay lakes. Yeah, there's a bunch of pay lakes in West Virginia, North Carolina. And I know one of my buddies, he won like a floater pot one night. He had to catch like a certain pound even, and he won the pot, and it was like $5,000. And he paid for his bass fishing the rest of the year.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's big over there.
That's a hot button issue in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Yep. And then it's funny. And then, like I said, in West Virginia, Ohio, when I went and visited a bunch of shops, it's like there's one group of us is another again. There's like the river cat fishermen and the pay lake, and they're like both at odds. I'm like, you're fishing for the same fish. Yeah, and you're fishing for the same fish, guys. What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't like to get into that kind of stuff. I just know that it goes on.
Oh, yeah,
just
it does.
Using sonar, it's here to stay. You can't do anything about it. So why waste your time and energy arguing about it?
Yeah, I absolutely agreed.
You don't have to use it. If you don't like it, don't use it.
Yeah. Well, it's like
can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, it's like John Cox. He don't even use it. Look how he's always in top 10. I mean, he fishes backwaters, gets up there in an aluminum boat. I mean, and then Keith Poche, same way. Them guys get way up in the backwaters and the shallows, and man, they catch them.
There's that one guy who won gosh, I can't even think of his name now. Dang, getting old again. CRS,
Yep.
He turns off all of his electronics before he starts fishing because he claims that upsets the fish.
Oh yeah, especially shallow water. I can see that pinging and like real shallow. I can see that. So, and I think it was Dean Brower or somebody said one time that they get an area and they'll have the wind push them or current, and they'll just turn off the trolling motor, everything, and just glide into the area. And like I say, I know Stinky River Tom's noticed this, but in a kayak, I've caught 4-pound bass within like 3 or 4 foot of me. It's amazing.
See, that's what I like about surf fishing. You're up there, you're up close, personal with the fish.
Yep.
And I am subject to the same things that are, that they're afraid of. I'm also afraid of the sharks, but it's not going to stop me from fishing. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just
absolutely.
And our buddy Barking River says, one thing is certain: the shallower the water, the more sonar bothers them.
Yeah, that makes sense because it bounces off, and yeah, it makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep. The waves intensify. Yeah, I agree with that. But we're noticing, I noticed a lot on pro tours, a lot of the guys are fishing shallow water. We use it sparingly to see where fish is and cover or whatnot, and so they're kind of mixing it into shallow water, but just in spots, not the whole time. So a lot of guys are figuring out how to kind of mix in the technology and make the best benefit of it. So I think it's pretty cool.
Well, I like that because you're talking about adjusting, and that's what Denise talked about on my last podcast. Is that she likes to fish between 0 and 15 feet, but in this last tournament, the fish were all deeper than that, so she had to make an adjustment, and she actually ended up catching fish and doing well. And I said, I love that, man. Adapt and overcome. It's in all of life. Nothing ever stays the same in life, and it's the people who can adapt are the people who come out on top. And same as in tournaments, adapt to the conditions. The fish. In fact, one of the best outdoor articles I ever wrote was one of my mentors, a guy by the name of Denny Sands, and he wrote, "Well, the fish were here yesterday. Why aren't they here today?" And he went through all kinds of different situations what that causes fish to move deeper or shallower or move over there as opposed to over here.
Yep.
And it was a fascinating article.
Oh yeah, sometimes they'll just move 4 foot deeper or 4 foot shallow. I mean, they adapt to their environment. Absolutely.
Or like in the middle of the weekend when there's 100 boats back in that bay, all trying to catch them. You have to have other spots if you're going to be a guide.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Because it just got beat. They got beat to death.
In the middle of a pack if you're guiding. No.
No, they got beat to death. You're not. It ain't gonna work.
No.
Well, and also it tends to upset the people who are in that pack.
Oh yeah.
You dang guide, you got to come over here. You got the whole night to fish. It doesn't matter that I was here the last 5 nights.
Yep. And it gets a good point. I was going to ask you, Jay. I know you was a guide for quite a while, and people think, "Oh, you be a guide. It's the life of rally." No, it ain't. What, you up at 3 a.m, packing lunch, getting your stuff ready, on the water all day, and then time you get home, it's dark, so you're like dark to dark. But guiding ain't all that.
When you get home, I always guided. I always took stuff to catch walleyes with, so I had to take my bait and make sure it's good. Change its water sometimes, and put it in the refrigerator. Take the worms, put them in the refrigerator. Clean up the boat. Plug in. This is days before lithium batteries, so I had to plug in all of my batteries. Then, if I was working that day, because, I had to work full time.
Yep.
Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning on the weekdays too, drive an hour into work, get off work at 2:30, be on the water by 3:30. But then the only time I ever had off is when I had my kids every other weekend, and I'm not going to guide on those days.
Yeah.
But right. I always wanted to take them someplace. I didn't want to spend the weekend sleeping. I wanted to be able to.
Yeah, and then the pressure's on. I mean, no matter what the conditions are, you want your clients to catch fish, make them happy. And it's like, you got storms and changing conditions, changing water. I mean, that's a lot of variables, a lot of pressure, a lot of variables.
You had to know where the bluegills are and the catfish, because those have saved a lot of guide trips.
Absolutely.
You got to know your electronics. Going up because back then we only had down scan. I couldn't afford side scan. Look down there. And that's a catch. Okay, drop it straight down with that leech, man. Drop it straight.
Yep.
Oh my God, I got a big one. All right, come on. It's like
absolutely.
a catfish,
Yep. Then Stinky River Tom says a lot of muskie guys up here are concerned about FFS, basically just pestering a small number of fish that have no interest in eating, with big trebles and snagging. Yeah, could be.
I guess people do use FFS to snag the paddlefish.
Yep.
So I don't see why you couldn't snag a muskie with that. And you're right. You're right, man. If you snag a muskie, wow. Wisconsin muskies and walleyes are king. There are only two kinds of fish in northern Wisconsin. Well, that's the old school guys our age. They're walleye fanatics or they're muskie fanatics, and those two populations of fishermen don't mix.
No, not very well.
But man, you don't snag muskies. They're such a precious fish. Actually, don't snag.
Don't snag anything.
Yeah.
Beautiful fish. It's legal to snag the paddlefish.
Yeah.
They're filter feeders. They get up to 100 pounds.
Whew. Unreal. And then there's a good friend, Mr. David Archibald, Mr. Top 10 finisher there, the recent tournament.
Woo!
How's it going, David? He's an absolute hammer. Great guy. Good friend to show.
I believe he's finished 8th up at the Northern Toyota in Champlain.
Yep. If he had one more day, I think he'd have pulled it out. They canceled that last day, but he was in the last day mix and in the hunt. So you'll get him, David. Hang in there, buddy.
Wow.
He's on the MGM Coltag Pro staff, by the way.
Yep. Great guy.
And we have had him on as a guest. So, if you're looking to score big in a tournament, just come on our podcast.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
We got quite a few winners, and I've catched a few checks this year. So maybe a little mojo rubbed off on me.
Is that an E or an I?
You said chicks?
Checks. Check.
Stinky River, never for the record. That's just part of the concern with forward facing.
Oh my goodness! It's gonna take me a minute to recover after that one.
Hey Jay, I don't have no groupies. I'm too old for all that anymore, man. I don't have no more groupies, man. That's been a long time ago.
Okay.
That's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not going to talk about stuff
Fishing
like that. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Back in the 90s, we had some groupies, but man, there were nothing to look at.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Times have changed.
All right,
when
guys,
I was single.
Yeah.
Let's start to reel this in a little bit and let Jay talk about whatever he wants to, sponsors, bait companies that you're intrigued with, and
I'd like to thank 47 Lures. 47 Lures sent me a big package. It hasn't gotten here yet, but it is going to get here. And as soon as it does, we're going to have on the podcast, we're going to talk about it. And what I do is I always open, whenever I get a package of something, I open it in front of the camera.
Good.
I love doing that with fishing rods. It's, haven't seen it yet. Can't wait to see it. Driving home, thinking about my fishing rod the whole way. It makes it easier to deal with the traffic in Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah.
47 Lures, Grant rods. Grant rods are just the best rods I've ever had, and thank you so much, Jim Grant, for taking me under your wing. He was the first company to notice me as a podcaster. Help me. He used to critique my podcast, tell me, no more of those pauses, no more of those uhs, or man, it helped me so much. Yeah. Don't get to know your guests before they come on. Of course, I know both of you guys, and you guys know me, so it's very easy to interview us.
Oh yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
are very easy to interview too. As far as saltwater stuff, man, this little thing right here. This is the Mojo shrimp.
Yep.
Look at that hook, man. That hook is a beast.
Absolutely.
It's got this little thing, so it stands up like this. But I put this underneath a popping cork, and I don't have any idea why a 35-inch long redfish eat those things, but they do. I've caught
candy.
I've caught bull reds up to close to 40 inches long. Some of my biggest specks ever, some things, 25-inch long specks I've caught on those things. To put that in perspective, a lot of guys fish their entire lives in Lake Pontchartrain and never catch one that big.
Yep.
I go out there and catch them from the shore. But there's one spot. It's a special spot. Everybody knows about it, but it's a very difficult spot to fish. Very easy spot to fish, very difficult spot to catch.
Yep.
Because there's a ledge right there. If you don't know how to fish a ledge, you're not catching.
Oh yeah, you gotta be spot on.
People are wondering why are you using an ounce jig? I don't know what I'm doing.
Just works. Just works.
They're like, you got a red. No, I don't. That's a spec.
Yep. Mark Ruger is giving us a hard time. He says, LOL, 2 inches is the average. Come on, Rugers. A little bit bigger than that, man. Yeah, you ain't fishing the right spot, dude. Stinky River Tom says, Jay, send me the link and I'll buy. I trust your judgment. Talking about 4-7 lures. So where can folks find 4-7 online at?
I'm pretty sure it's 47lures.com.
It is. It is. I was just looking at it.
I'm going to look that up right now.
Yep. I said that wacky worm you was talking about with the ribs. I've seen that. That thing is pretty interesting looking. That's pretty cool.
47, man. I appreciate that, Barker, because the stuff is good stuff. I believe in the company. I believe in the owner.
Yep.
I've seen his stuff. I've talked to him extensively on the phone. I had him on my podcast. He knows and he says that he personally has caught fish on every lure that he sells.
Oh wow!
Yes, he has a pro staff that goes out there. He goes out there and fishes with each lure as well, and he has quite an extensive inventory. So, nice. He has both saltwater and freshwater lures, which is what I like. Because I have freshwater sponsors and saltwater sponsors.
Yep.
One thing I've been telling this guy, this right here would work for yellow perch.
Oh, absolutely.
You ever fish for yellow perch, John?
Not a day in my life.
Really?
I know better than that.
Well, I know how some bass fishermen are. No, I only fish for bass.
No.
Yellow perch are just, you catch a
freshwater shrimp.
Yes, it looks like a freshwater shrimp.
Yep.
They are freshwater shrimp when you cook them because they curl right up.
Oh, and if you catch those things through the ice, ooh, I used to love. I do not like ice fishing. I don't like ice fishing, but if I can catch yellow perch through the ice, I'm gonna go do it. In fact, I fell through the ice in Lake Huron in a truck in Lake Huron.
Oh man!
I was in the Air Force. It just been drinking all. It was a bad situation.
No, the lake by me, Seneca Lake, it doesn't freeze, so you can go out there in the middle of January and go out and get 2-pound perch.
Oh, 2-pounders! That's
pretty nice.
I was talking like 25-inch specks. That's equivalent to a 2-pound perch.
Yep. And believe it or not, I found there's yellow perch here in Kentucky. There's one lake here locally. I found yellow perch here in Kentucky.
Well, Dale Hollow has. No, that's in Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Well, Tennessee, Kentucky, but yeah, pretty nice. And got a good comment from Mr. Stinking River Tom. Is there any way I can support you guys? Let me know. I'll sub or do whatever y'all need. Cool crew here for sure. Hey, thanks, Tom. Yeah, just give us a like, subscribe, and look up Jay. Let's Talk Fishing podcast. And we'll appreciate
video on YouTube. Yeah.
Yep. A lot of great guests, and he's had Roy Widgeon. We've had Roy on a few times, and they're great guests. I mean, you want to talk kayaking? Roy knows kayaking. There ain't no doubt.
And when I said I'm a bigger guy, Roy's like, you're not as big as me. And he's like, in his kayak, he gets on it. He said he can stand up in it and.
Oh yeah, that Unlimited, man. He goes all over the place. And yes, what's your podcast again?
It's called Let's Talk Fishing.
Yep. And we're on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. We're on 8 p.m. Eastern. Co-Anglers Corner. We have Ladies and Fishing Monday, Co-Anglers on Tuesday, and then we kind of wide open on Wednesday. So, but yeah, tune in to both, man. You'll get some good information, and I said, feel free to ask questions. If we don't know the answer, or guests don't know, we'll find out.
Yeah, we don't know everything.
We don't, but we have fun.
We don't know everything.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, it's getting close to that time.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast talking to you guys. It's fun to be on the other side of this.
Yeah.
You guys
are different, ain't it?
Anytime. I don't have a very structured podcast. So if you call me and say, hey, we'd like to come on to promote this. All right, next week.
Yep.
I'm not very structured. I thrive on chaos. So.
Yep. But hey, we appreciate you, Jay. I said you were a big influence on us and a mentor to us doing podcasts. So hey, we appreciate you, and said we talk quite a bit, man. I enjoy your friendship. I know John does too, man. We appreciate you.
Well, I'm here for you guys, man. And Cage Rob, I can't thank you enough. You helped me through some of the toughest times of my life. So.
Hey, same here, man. We've been through it, but hey, the Lord has us still here for a reason. We don't know what that is, but we're still here.
Maybe it's just to antagonize everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. But we're here for a purpose. He has a plan for us. That's all I know.
And just thanks a lot, John, for scheduling me in so quickly. I appreciate you.
Not a problem. Anything for you, sir.
And, man, guys, I highly recommend this podcast. Thank you, Stinky River. I highly recommend this podcast, guys.
Appreciate it.
And
all right, Jay, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, well, I say we appreciate you, Stinky River Tom, sticking around, asking questions, comments, and appreciate the sub and everybody else that's been tuning in, Barking Rugers, and everybody. Have a safe day tomorrow, and go wet a line every time you can. We appreciate Jay you coming on, and tune in tomorrow night.